Hello and welcome to Azure Back to School. This is top 10 ways to secure your Microsoft 365 environment. My name is Sasha and I'm a CEO of Cloud and also CEO of a couple of other companies. I'm Microsoft Regional Director, Microsoft Security MVP, but also have been a Microsoft Certified Trainer for more than for almost 20 years. I'm the MCT Community Lead. This is the former MCT Regional Lead. I'm also teaching EC Council courses as well as CompTIA courses too. My company offers training, but also consultancy and specific on-site training for C-level management. I'm also proud author of a couple of books. A few of them are in the Microsoft Server area, and others are in the security area, like Microsoft Defender Cloud Cookbook, and also the recent one, Microsoft 365 Security and Compliance for Administrators, all published by Pact Publishing. So please go check them out. They are available on Amazon as well as on Pact website. So what is on the agenda today? Well, why top 10? It is not actually top 10. That's why I may put the number 10 in between quotes. But in fact, why in between quotes? Because I actually couldn't decide which 10 to put. I wanted to put a little bit more. I hope you won't mind to hear about a little bit more advice and tips rather than 10, so it won't hurt. But well, let's get on to it. So these are 6 categories, and we'll talk about a little bit more tips in between each category. But onboarding is the first one. Then we will say a few tips about identity, email, data, and some advanced things. No heavy stuff, but also very important stuff that a lot of companies somehow forget. This is something that we've synthesized, actually summarized, distilled from all the way that we've all the past consultancy and architecture work, and these are not big steps, but very essential steps actually to raise your M365 posture very to a different level. So these are the I would say the basic or the fundamental things that every company or individual should do. But well, let's get on to it. So first of all, it's to adopt a comprehensive cybersecurity control framework. So what is this? There are a lot of frameworks, and I suggest that you read at least one, if not all of them, not just the ones that are here on the list, but others as well. So I've just listed a couple of them for your information, but I suggest as you come across to others, there are a lot more than these, but these are the most important ones that you should know about. So CIS is here as well. CIS controls critical security controls, and CIS also publishes Microsoft 365 benchmarks as well. Well, actually, CIS publishes a lot of more benchmarks. I will just show you that in a minute. Then there's NIST and the PCI DSS, the ISO 27001, and also the Network and Information Security Directive, which is the applicable directive for the European Union that just came into power. But let's quickly take a look at these. What are these, in fact? So what are these cybersecurity frameworks? So these are the frameworks. Actually, I would like to refer to them as necessary baselines, so to speak. So what is this, or actually what are these, in fact? So as you take a look at the CIS security website, so here you have the starting page, And then as you scroll a little bit down there, then you see CIS benchmarks. So these are, if you click on download latest, then you can see the all and also the categories of these cloud benchmarks that you have: cloud providers, desktop software, DevSecOps tools, mobile devices, network operating systems, service software, and so on. So as you scroll down, you will see all these benchmarks of what they are actually, how many of them are there. So if you take a look at the Microsoft 365, there is not much to see because there's only one. I'll show you I think I have version 4. This is the newest one. And also, if you take a look, just for sake of the example, you can also go to the Windows Server, and then you can see available versions that include and apply to different versions of the Windows Server. For example, 2019, 2008, 2003, and so on and so forth. But let's stick to the Microsoft 365 one. What are these? So once you decide to download them, these are free to use. You click here and then click on download the latest CIS benchmarks. So what you have to do, you have to register to get them free, and after registering you will be able to use all of these. So these are the benchmarks, in fact also the baselines, but not just the baselines, but more than that. Let me show you that I've downloaded also. I'm using the M365 one as well, the Azure one and Google one, and so on. So because I work with these technologies and these providers as well, AWS, etc. But let's stick to the M365. So what is this? Let's scroll down a little bit. If you take a look at, and I will switch to one page here, so to be able to see that a little bit more in detail. So what you have table of contents, you have the overview, recommendation, definitions. So this is where it gets interesting, and then you have profile, description, rationale, etc., etc. So recommendations include M365 Admin Center, Teams in groups, settings, 365 Defender, and Cloud Apps, Purview, etc. And so on and so forth. So by looking at the titles, you will see what these are. So for example, one recommendation or a benchmark will be that ensure that the SPF records are published for all Exchange domains. And if you click one, this is the bookmark, it will immediately get you to the appropriate page. By the way, we have 484 pages here included in this M365 benchmark from CIS. So for each of the recommendations, for example 2.1.8, ensure that send protection framework records are published for all Exchange domains, include profile applicability to which products, description, rationale, why is this important, what is the impact if you do or actually do not implement this, and then there are very clear steps to audit this using PowerShell, or to use or using CLI in some cases, or to use or using user interface. So anyway, you have a very clear auditing descriptions and steps. So open the command prompt, type the following to verify, proceed with these steps, and how to remediate. So in order to have one, actually to install the SPF, then use this steps, and there are the references, and this applies also to everything else. So here it is. So for example, I know let's take a look, ensure comprehensive attachment filtering is applied, and then there's a rationale, and so on and so forth, and you get it. So this provides quite a very nice comprehensive default security settings or a benchmark for M365, and you can download these for everything else. So what I've mentioned Also, I've mentioned the PCI DSS, so I will also, since I'm here looking at the Foxit reader, so let's stick to this one as well. So PCI DSS also has a downloadable documentation. Payment card industry data security standard is also important. Because this also, similarly as the M365 benchmark from CIS, gives you the description, best practices, but also the detail how to protect systems from malicious software, for example, and so on and so forth, the steps, etc. So let's take a look also at these pages that let's give another look to these pages that I mentioned. So CIS benchmark is here. Then there's the ISO standard as well. So this is not free, but also it's not a bank breaker as well. So roughly 140 euros. This is the 132 Swiss francs if you want to download it in PDF and EPUB format. Then you have the NIST cybersecurity framework. Just quickly, let's go to this one. Downloadable, so a very nice site as well. So if you choose to download it, there are some pages to look through and to read through them. So I suggest that you do that. Again, there's a NIST special publication which has a little bit more pages, roughly nearly 500. That you can also download. PCI DSS, this is the website from where you can download the PCI DSS standard. So document library, if you go to this one and go to the resources, go to the document library, which will bring you to this website, to this page, and if you scroll down a little bit, then there it is, PCI DSS version 4.0.1, and after viewing document, before viewing document, actually, you will need to accept a license agreement, register, and then accept, and then you'll be able to download it. Again, Microsoft also has this listing for of all compliance offerings for not just for M365, but for Azure Dynamics 365 and others. So, and there's a list as well. CIS benchmark, we have ISO 27001 as well, and for different industries. So there's the FERPA, there's the different industries, for example, as well. There's the NIST, and I've mentioned FedRAMP or FIPS, and others as well. So if it's financial, then you will, for example, find also the PCI DSS, for example, as well. But if you want to look at these compliance offerings, actually compliance documents, then there's a dedicated page for that. So you go to the Microsoft compliance, and then you have others as well, risk assessment guides, compliance offerings, GDPRs, etc., etc. I won't go through the very details of these, but you should know about that. And there's the information about NIS2 directive, for example, Network and Information Systems, second version of it, and on the European Commission website, but also there's a dedicated website for that. So where you have also, well, it's just one example, articles, etc., and there's NIS2 directive links and the official text and so on. So please get acquainted with all of these, because this is important. So clearly go through the benchmarks. If nothing else, I would recommend the first one to go with is Microsoft 365 from CIS. Why? Because it's easily downloadable. Well, others are easy to download as well, but this is pretty straightforward. So you have steps, you have clear domains, what to harden, whether it's just the Defender Purview or different Defender products, and then you go through each of these steps. 500 pages there are, but still better to go through these than to have your environment not secure enough anyway. I suggest that you go through all these as well. So this will be the first one. It's a bit longer step, but still a very important one. The second one, well, still on the onboarding checklist, which will be like the fundamentals. Please limit the number of global admins, and this is of course something that everyone should keep in mind. Aim for a maximum of not more than 5 administrators per tenant to minimize security risk. So 2 minimum, I would say. Maybe in a different scenarios and in a more secure environments, aim for 3. So if you have well, it depends. If you have 2 administrators and each of them have just a half of the password, then you will have to have 2, for example, if you're just relying on password to authenticate. In that case, if something goes wrong with one of the global admins, if it's unavailable for any reason, then you won't be able to get in, for example. Now Microsoft imposed the requirement for using the multi-factor authentication. So depending on how you set up your tenant, you might be able to get in. But anyway, please plan accordingly with minimum 2. Well, not more than 5. Even in large organizations, you don't need more than 5 global admins per tenant. So needless to say, these admin accounts needs to be strongly monitored for everything that happens around them, and use separate accounts. Avoid assigning admin privileges to standard user accounts, or synchronizing existing on-premises Active Directory admins with cloud administrative privileges. Please don't do that. So instead, use separate and, if possible, unlicensed administrative user IDs in the on Microsoft.com domain. Please refrain from giving global admins or any kind of admins unnecessary licenses. So, for example, let's say that you have an E5, a global admin or a specific admin administrative account probably don't need an E5 license, and if it does, it certainly does not need all of the licenses that are included in E5. So why? So for example, let's say that you assign an E5 license or E3, and then there you have a Power BI license or to-do license, or for example, which some security admin or any kind of admin, let alone global admin, should have. And imagine, just for example, imagine that there is a zero-day exploit, for example, in to-do or any kind of or Power BI or whatever the product that these admins are assigned to. Then since the admin and since this admin or privileged accounts don't use these features like to-do or Power BI, these might be used as a attack vector, for example, and can be exploited to get a foothold in your tenant. So please don't use these. And needless to say, involves strong authentication. Strong means not just an MFA, but use an multi-factor authentication that is stronger than the other accounts. So use adequate protection and adequate multi-factor authentication, strong authentication, the strongest that is possible for admin accounts, because administrative privileged accounts are the doors to your tenant. So please protect them adequately, and adopt adequate role-based access control. So delegate these admin controls based on individual job functions. for example, like help desk license or billing, and rather than assigning global admins to every user. Why? This means this looks like a very reasonable and request, or actually advice, but it is in fact. I'm mentioning it because we've found that in 3/3 of companies that we've dealt with, usually somehow the non-administrative accounts or the privileged accounts also have, beyond the help desk or license or billing or secure admin, they also sometimes have global admin roles, and these are easily forgotten when assigned. So please don't do that, and assign specific admin roles for individual job functions, or even create your own RBAC control, a custom one, if the built-in are too permissive. Again, we found out also that sometimes, well, more usually, yes than not, these companies, a lot of companies, do not control what kind of devices are permitted to access the tenant and the assets, the company assets. So protect corporate data on personal iOS, Android devices by using some kind of mobile management, whether it's mobile device management or application management. Please use this, either register or join these devices, but control, because if you don't do that, then you cannot apply other protection capabilities to the data and to these devices that are accessing corporate data. Develop a device management strategy. Please do that to restrict enrollment and access for other devices. So don't allow every kind of device to access your tenant, your corporate data, please. Some organizations actually may choose to block access to company apps and data on personal owned desktops and laptops. If you have reason not to do so, then block every other mobile or desktop that is not supposed to access that. So use conditional access, use rules, use filters, use do not allow accessing from certain countries, IP addresses, or just create rules in MDM or MM that will forbid accessing corporate data from any kind of device, actually joining devices that are not supposed to join. You just need one such device for things go wrong. If needed, enable web-only access. If you do so, then this is also increases a little bit of security, but of course web-only access shouldn't be allowed from web cafes or I know some from everywhere. Use or restrict access also based on location, based on the type, and based on the IP address or range, and so on. Allowing limited web access for personally owned devices also, where data cannot be copied, printed, or downloaded, also increases a little bit of security. So just a digression and a quick pause on the presentation. That doesn't mean that if you have 10,000 users, that every single of these 10,000 users should have deployed or configured, or has to be configured with all these steps that I'm mentioning right now. So of course, if we're talking about the C-level management board or C-level accounts, then these will have a little bit stronger security, better monitoring, coverage, and stronger authentication methods rather than the other ones as well. So rather the other ones. So different types of accounts need different types of protection, but also these different types of accounts will have different levels of access in the organization. Also, choose individuals that are in your organization that will serve as your primary points of contact for various notifications. So what kind of contacts? So this will include billing, alerts, and service health, and so on. So do not set up these things so every admin or multiple persons actually so every admin actually does this, because this is time consuming. And create dedicated distribution groups for that, and choose individuals in the organization to serve as primary points of contact. And what I didn't write on a slide, but I will say this, usually the create the FAQ and help website, actually site or page on your company website or on a company SharePoint intranet, where you will list all the usual 80%, 90% of the tier 1 questions and problems that the users will be pointed to. So in order not to overwhelm your admins, or in order to minimize these individuals that should serve as a primary points of contact. So usually the people have questions, how should I reset my password, or what if I lose my password, and how to do this and how to do that. So if you have more than 2 or 3 questions, if these are repeating, then please create a website or web page and put somewhere that information, the FAQ and help. You will list all these things that the users can check themselves. And do not allow, or actually create choose the individuals that will serve as primary point of contact for these things. But you don't have to, please do not create 20 of them or 50, 1 or 2, maybe 3 if you have a large company, but not even that. So minimize that. And this is something that is not new at all, but even when we talk about zero trust, which a principle of less privilege has been here since the age of Julius Caesar, and even before that, principle of less privilege is a part of the zero trust, but it's also part of has been a part of any information system before the zero trust even has been created. We've seen that a lot of companies don't follow these principle of less privilege. They just assign role, and without looking at the role itself, without looking what the role actually enables them to do. So do not just assign these roles, RBAC roles, just like that. Please, you have to be aware what these RBAC roles mean, and what these RBAC roles will gain access to, and if you find these RBAC roles that are built in too permissive, nothing can stop you from creating your own a little bit more restrictive RBAC roles. So limit admin privileges, grant only the minimum roles required for the job function, but also pay special attention to admin accounts. I've already said that, but do monitor extensively and protect the admin accounts. So this is a different level. Create a specific monitoring solution and protection for admin accounts. Use separate named account for each global admin that does not have unnecessary licenses assigned. And please do not name the global accounts, global admin accounts, global admin 1, global admin 2, something like that. Name it whatever you want, but don't make it obvious that this is the global account. Also very important. Create emergency access accounts. I've already said that minimum 2, but not more than 5 cloud-only accounts for emergency access, and also try not to lock yourself out. So if you are using the conditional access, please prevent accidental lockout of administrative access. Creating 2 emergency access accounts, and also they're not synchronized to any clues from the policies, but also protect them with a FIDO2 security key and put these security keys somewhere. Lock them in. So do not use just one, please, because a lot of times when we say and recommend, oh, you have to use some FIDO2 key. Oh yeah, but these are not good because we lost one and then lost access. Yes, of course, because you were, I wouldn't say stupid, but you were negligent enough to have only one. If you buy a car, you get at least 2 keys. If you buy a house and if you buy a lock, you get at least 3 or 4 of them. So why this would be an exception for Azure on M365 tenant? So why you had one FIDO key in the first place? So you should have at least 2 or 3 of them for a global admin account, for example, or any other account. So I know that this is a additional expense, but please, these are not so very expensive. So these are ranging from 20 to 60 euros, dollars, something like that, and this is not very big expense. Also, for the administrative accounts, configure email trigger and or SMS alerts or any kind whenever these accounts sign in. So in please do track all of these. Do track, create, modify, delete, sign in. So any action on these privileged accounts you need to track, because if you don't, then you won't be able to know what is happening with them. So are they compromised, are they being misused, and so on. Please do not do that. Do not forget to track them, to track the information around them as well. Use set up conditional access. And by using conditional access, well, conditional access is the best way to set up multi-factor authentication. You can set up MFA in 3 ways. The first and the best way is the conditional access, because it provides you with the most granular options for setting up the MFA. The second one would be the security defaults, but the security defaults is frequently turned off, because because turning off security defaults is required if you want to use conditional access. And the third one, and the least preferred way, is to individually manage and assign MFA to users, which is a very hard thing to do. You should deploy at least following 4 policies to replace the functionality of security defaults. So you should have at least policies that are used to configure and enable multi-factor authentication, and not just for admins and for Azure M365 management, but also for C-level personnel, managers, and for others granularly. Make sure that you also enable self-service password reset, also extremely important and often overlooked. By enabling self-service password reset, end users will be able to reset their own passwords from the cloud using their secure authentication methods. Why it is important? Because they will be able to do it without the need for IT administrator intervention, which will significantly decrease the burden on administrators by making your users able to reset their own passwords, of course, after providing enough and correct credentials and performing successful authentication. This will increase security and strengthen the security, because the users will then take a little bit more care how they take care of their passwords. This will improve productivity and significantly reduce the workload on the IT department. So where to do that? In the M365 Admin Center, as well as in the Azure Center's Azure portal as well. Additionally, configure Azure AD or Entra AD primary authentication method. Configure primary authentication method for Azure AD. Sorry about that, a little bit. This little typo. It's not Azure AD anymore. It's Entra ID. To use Microsoft Authenticator to enhance security for sign-ins. So, whether using a one-time passcode, which is generated by the app, or a number matching experience, whatever you do is better than not having it all, or having weak authentication method. So where should you do it? This is going to be visible right here. So if you take a look at the Microsoft Entra security, so you should go to the Entra ID, then scroll down the left side and choose the security blade, and after choosing the security blade, then on the left side you will also see the authentication methods. The authentication methods, you will see the policies, and these policies will list some of the built-in methods: the pass keys, which is the FIDO2 keys, Microsoft Authenticator, SMS, temporary access pass, hardware OAuth token and software OAuth token, some voice calls, OTPs and so on, and the newest one is the QR code as well. So for example, you can also further restrict and strengthen the security by configuring including or excluding some selected groups, but also you can configure also the general settings and key restriction policies as well. So for example, allowing self-service setup, for example, but also enforcing key restrictions. This is also one good way to restrict only the keys, allow the keys that you as a company only allow, or block the keys that you don't as a company allow for users to use, by specifying AA good values. What are AA good values? Let's Google a little bit. Let's Bing to Google, or Google the Bing, as they would say. AA goods, for example, for Yubico, you will see not guide, but actually goods. Well, that's good as well. Goods, YubiKeys, FIDO2 AA goods. Here they are. So for each of the families, you have also the sub families as well. Actually, the firmware versions for which these goods, AA goods, are available, and simply copy paste these into the required right click and then copy into the required field here. For example, right click and paste, and then you would allow or block these YubiKey 5s with a firmware version 5.1. The same thing applies also to, for example, to let's say Fashion, and there they are. So FIDO security keys includes for the specific product names and casing and the applet versions and so on. So there are AA goods for specific keys. Also extremely important, because you might also be subjected, your company, to some regulations, or maybe you have some strict security requirements, or maybe management requirements, or whatever this is. This can be also done. What else? Let's talk a little about email and apps protection checklists. Please do configure standard policy framework, because this is the path-based email authentication technique, which will include the TXT record in the DNS that will help validate outbound emails sent from your custom domain. There is also on Microsoft Learn or documentation website, there is a very nice step-by-step documentation guide that you can use to help implement SPF, here, or DKIM or DMARC, that will tell you a little bit more about in just about a second. Other two options to set up, as I mentioned previously, DKIM and DMARC, are also to consider. So domain keys identified email, or DKIM, will protect your customers' domains from malicious email spoofing. So this will allow the system, the receiving system, the email, to check that it was sent by domain that it claims to be sent from, and also to ensure that it hasn't been modified in transit. So create the DKIM DNS records and configure M365 to sign outgoing messages with the corresponding private key to do that. So adding DMARC, domain-based message authentication, reporting and conformance. Also, it's useful because records to your customers, these records, adding these records to your customers' domains, DNS allow you to specify what the receiving email systems should do with messages that fail to check. So whether they should reject, quarantine, or accept these kind of emails. You can also check this by yourself by going to, let's close this a little bit, we don't need that anymore. I will leave. You can also use MX Toolbox. So for example, for the domains that do not have DKIM or DMARC or SPF correctly implemented, then you will enter your domain name, for example, by purely random example on toza.com. Toza, I don't know who owns this domain, so whoever owns it, I apologize if I have used it, but I was just trying to look for some sort of domains that will return the result of the DNS or DMARC as an error. So this one, for example, will return the error. Then this is the DMARC, and other DNS lookups and other tools are available at the MX Toolbox that you can use. But for example, if you use, let's say, contoso.com, you know that contoso.com is a domain that has been here for quite a while. In fact, contoso.com is Microsoft domain, so if you type in a browser contoso.com, it has a permanent redirect to the Microsoft.com domain. So if you press enter on contoso.com, it has correctly published DNS records and DMARC records published, and other tools and other records as well. So you can also play with the MX Toolbox, so for example. And if I let's go there and choose my, let's say, my own domain, cloudattack.com. If you take a look at the MX lookup at that one, you'll also see that these are correctly published and set up. So these three records, please take a look at these and set them up. Again, enable alert policies. Please, Microsoft provides a plethora and quite a number of built-in alert policies, and these built-in policies are in bold, and the policy type is defined as system. So configure the policy to send email notifications to the technical or administrative contacts. So where to find them? Let's close this one again. These are policies and rules, and we have, so where to go: security.microsoft.com, let's go to the in fact to this one. Right, please. Excellent. There it is. Alert policy and alert policies. There it is. Okay, so there it is. The category. There's a type, custom, and system, and etc. etc. You can also turn it off and on. So, for example, is the email messages removed after delivery, from campaign, removed, triggered, compromise, investigation, etc. etc. So you can also set up a new alert policy that are built in. Let's type it in test, for example, and choose the severity, pick the category, threat management, etc., and then create alert settings. So if the activity is if detected malware in an email message, if users submitted email, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of common user activities that you can use, but please use these. These are here. These are here for you to use. So I know that you can, for example, use a DLP policy and match these, but these are alerts that someone that you set up will immediately get. So, for example, you can also say and pick, for example, share the folder or any file of folder activity, for example. These are common user activities. External user file activities is also very common. Supervision, rule match, and etc. etc. Access file, copied file, deleted access request, and so on and so forth. So file sharing activities, filtering events, and there are quite interesting and very important ones, site administration activities. So edit, exempt user agent, or created group, deleted group, and so on and so forth. So downloaded files. So very common and sensitive actions are available here that you should create a node policy for these. Of course, different tenant sensitivities and different businesses have different needs, but please do consider using them, and especially for some highly sensitive actions. Then again, there are a lot of threat policies, so I won't go through each of these and through all of them, because there's a lot there. So I'll just mention these as very important. Start with standard protection for the entire domain, and if the customer has a specific users that are either sensitive to or targets for malicious email or spam, considered a strict level. And there are the preset policies. So, for example, so you can go to the, for example, the system, and then we have the settings. Actually, oh yeah, well, we can use these as well. Then we have threat policies, and we have preset security policies. These preset security policies, we do have built-in protection, which is the default one. Then we have standard and the strict protection. So you can, I suggest that you use these as well. Then we have threat policies that you should turn on. Defend for Office 365 or SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, and others. Activate Defend for Office 365 to secure SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams against potential cyber threats, and ensure that these threat policies, not just safe attachments, it's just purely a screenshot its purpose is to just remind you that these things exist, but there are policies: anti-phishing, anti-spam, anti-malware, safe attachments, and safe links. A lot of companies do not devote enough time to these and leave them unconfigured, unadjusted. Please do that. Then there is again Teams, guest settings in Teams. Very often these guest settings in Teams are also neglected and forgotten about, where you should select the file storage and sharing options that you want to be available in the Files tab. So this can be easily abused, I would say, or actually misconfigured. So where is this? There it is. Okay, I need to reauthorize again. Did I sign out? Yes, but I will sign in again. Let's sign in again. Teams Admin Center. There it is, fairly quickly. Excellent. There it is. So Teams, there's team policies. You can also set up the team policies, but the team settings have the settings for the storage file sharing options that you want to be available in the files tab. So Citrix, Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, and Night, for example. You can also turn this on and off. These are typically most of the users have Box and Dropbox and in Google Drive that used to share files. So please do disable them if your users don't need them. Don't even leave this possibility to be used. Please turn this off unless you have explicitly need for using them. Again, there's on the right side, there is the external identities, manage guest access in Entra ID and in Teams. This is something that you should be also aware of. So if you go to the Entra ID, then to the external identities, there's the setting external collaboration setting. By default, this option is on guest users have the same access as members, which is most inclusive. Then again, the default option is most inclusive. Like here as well, it's most inclusive. Please consider moving these to a little bit more restrictive, if not to the most restrictive, if you are not using these. So actually, if just think about the impact that these options, the default options, which are the most inclusive, will have on your environment. Do not allow users to have the guest users to have some access as members if you don't have explicit reason to do so, but also collaboration restrictions, but also and also guest invite settings as well. So no one in the organization can invite guest users, including admins, or just this one, which is just a notch down from the most restrictive. Only users assigned to specific admin roles can invite guest users, which will be more reasonable setting to have, rather than having anyone in the organization being possible to invite guest users, including guests and non-admins. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Please revise these and strengthen the security a little bit. Then you have the configuration. Then you have the configuration analyzer. Use the configuration analyzer in the Microsoft 365 Defender portal. So why? To help you identify issues in your current configuration and also improve policies for better security. So to quickly find and fix email security policies where the settings are below the standard protection and strict protection profile setting preset security policies. So these configuration, the configuration analyzer, what am I doing? Well, wrong button. There it is. The configuration analyzer is right here in policies and rules, and then if you click on threat policies, then you have configuration analyzer. The configuration analyzer will help you identify issues in the current configuration. So you will also see who has changed what, anti-phish default Office 365, the policy group setting name, the current configuration, when was last modified, and also you will see the SKU from the standard or strict recommendation, and you will see the configuration drift analysis and history as well, if there is one. So please you use also that one. There is the data protection checklist again, where you should also create and publish sensitivity labels. So start with these built-in sensitivity labels. that will help end users to classify and protect sensitive or proprietary information. So this is just a one sentence to describe the extreme importance of creating and publishing sensitivity labels, which is exactly a topic that requires at least a couple of days, and not just a mention in a couple of seconds. But please, if you haven't started yet using sensitivity labels, please use them. One advice: you don't have to start in bulk and implement everything. Start small and start with highly confidential first, because the highly confidential files and emails and highly confidential assets, data, is typically not big. You don't have large amounts of these highly confidential documents, and you will exactly know which one they are, so it won't be hard to implement highly confidential labels. Usually these are the contracts or of user personal employment file contracts, or some financial documentation data, patents, and C-level emails, files, etc. So start with these. Then again, we have DLP policies. DLP policies, create them, please. Use them. Use the ones that are provided, that are built in, but please create your own. Monitor or block external sharing of sensitive information with DLP policies. This is just one example, but you can do much more than that. And one advice: you can't implement DLP policies in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. DLP policies require time for planning, implementation, and testing. Why? Because if you just rush implementing DLP policies, then this probably will go wrong. The DLP policies won't work as intended. The impact will be negative. For example, it will negatively impact users' workers' experience and productivity, and you won't be satisfied. And after a couple of days, you will say, "Oh, these things don't work. These are useless, and DLP policies suck." But if you take time to define what you want to do with DLP policies, to whom will these policies apply, if you plan implementation and testing, then the DLP policies will work as a charm. Usually in a mid-sized organization with a couple of hundreds and thousands of users, this takes between 6 and 12 months to implement correctly. So in a smaller organizations, probably will take a little bit less time, but not in a day. Please do consider DLP policies as well. Again, create a retention policy for Exchange mailboxes. You never know what's going to happen. Recommendation is to define at minimum retention policies for Exchange email, and then you can also take advantage of inactive mailboxes, where you can also, within the time frame, you can still recover or restore the mailboxes of the departed employees who have left the organization. Please consider doing that. Then again, temporary access pass, for example. This we already talked about and mentioned. MFA and self-service password reset from trusted locations. But please also consider using temporary access pass, for example, for the users that need to register from or access from a different location after verifying their identity. And then again, often overlooked, but blocking all executable email attachments. Please do that. There is absolutely no need that anyone needs to have an exe file or any executable file in an email as attachment. So enforce a strict policy that prohibits the receipt and execution of email attachments. And also, if you enabled a standard or strict preset email policy, these will have also these common attachments filter. block for several on block for several executable attachment types. So many businesses do need to send these, but use different ways to send them. Don't use emails. Enhance protection to block all executable attachments via transport rules. Don't use that, please, because these are abused, and it is only one is enough to compromise the entire system. Please don't use that. Defender for Office anti-phishing policies, we already mentioned it already, but configure additional impersonation protection for email addresses that might be impersonated by attackers, for example, like top-level executives or board members and some other people in key roles. Please do that. Also, safety tips are usually overlooked by admins and security people, but safety tips are also very, very useful and add to security. So these can inform users when receiving email from a sender for the first time, or for example when the sender does not pass email authentication. Then these safety tips can also be useful. For example, these are common in phishing scenarios. Please find these useful links here, the ones that you've seen, that we've talked about. CISsecurity.org, DMARC, CISA.gov, and some other Microsoft.com related links for securing M365. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. I'm available online. You can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, X, Blue Sky, everywhere, on my personal and company web pages. You can get in touch if you need some additional explanation, or if you need any consulting services or training services on site. We do offer exclusive on-site learning services as well. Please don't hesitate to get in contact, and I'm glad that you have been here with me for the last hour. I hope it was useful, and have a rest of the day and morning, and thank you for being here with me. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.